Hello, everybody, and welcome to Miami. I love it. A lot of eyes were here on Miami back in January for Wodapalooza, rightfully so. And we've come together for another amazing celebration. They're celebrating, I'm celebrating, right? The 5th and final Reebok CrossFit Games Open announcement is here, presented by Fit 0. We are ready indeed. Ready indeed. Yes, we've got two of the fittest athletes in the world going toe-to-toe. Yes, we have an incredible matchup for Mexico's national championship. And yes, you're going to want to stick around for the Swole and Flexi, post-show. But before we get to all of that, I've got some familiar faces and voices coming in the form of Brandon Domain and Tommy Marquez. They're going to give us the lay of the land.
Thank you, Kiki, and it is good to see everybody again. Brandon and Tommy with you, and the more things change, the more things stay the same, as we've realized the first 4 weeks. Yes, there's a lot of changes to everything. The music's still loud, the effort's still there, the community is still the same.
And that's been reflective in the programming we've seen thus far in the Open. You know, we've had our couplets, our triplets, our chippers, task and time priority, but we've also had some new elements kind of mixed in. We got strict handstand push-ups showing up for the first time ever, mandated rest in the Open. So it's been this nice little mix to kind of kick off this new system.
And another thing that has stayed the same is atop the men's leaderboard, as it's Matt Fraser once again, as he has been basically for all of 3 years in a row, leading the way.
Yeah, no surprise Matt Fraser is at the top, but you know what? This year got off to a little bit of a tough start for him. He had his worst finish in an Open workout since 2015 to start the year in 19.1. And then how does he respond? He just has 3 straight top 3 worldwide finishes to get back on top. You know what? It's a new year, a new system. Same old Matt Fraser, just getting back to his winning ways.
Almost like the fitness still applies. And on the women's side of the leaderboard, it's Sarah Sigmundsdottir leading the way. And it's almost weird to say this, a little uncharacteristic of being inside the top 10 at this point for Tia-Clair Toomey.
Yeah, it's a lot of unfamiliar territory for Tia Toomey this year. You look at, she uprooted her life and moved to Cookeville. She gets a new training partner in none other than Matt Fraser. And how does that pay off? Unfamiliar territory for her here, being in the top 10 worldwide in the Open. It's a finish she's never had before. And now she gets to participate in her first ever Open announcement. You know, before she was in Australia, could never make the trip over, and now she gets to throw down for everyone to see for the first time.
And that's all well and good with our main event with Matt Fraser and Tia-Clair Toomey, but the importance also lies in what we'll have first, which is that race for Mexico's national championship, which in terms of the points is tied at 11 between Brenda Castro and Tia Schmidt.
And that's one of the beautiful things of this new system, right? The national champion race is being a direct path to the games. And we get to see one play out right now with Brenda Castro first. She's the 3-time reigning fittest woman on Earth, fittest woman from Mexico, She got to make her debut at the CrossFit Games last year as a rookie. Now she gets to try and kind of parlay that into a back-to-back games qualifying season and let that fittest in Mexico title get her to the games. But she's got Tia Schmidt, an up-and-comer, on her tail. They're tied in points overall. Tia's been an athlete that's been consistently getting better. After her best finish ever at regionals last year in Latin America, she's having her best Open season, 129th worldwide. Before, she's never finished or broken the top 400. So she's having a great season as well, and we could see the fittest on Mexico title get determined tonight.
And the Spanish stream will be available, by the way, for those on the Instagram story feed for Wodapalooza if you are interested in the Spanish stream. But one thing we do know, English or Spanish, it's going to be the same workout. What do you think we're going to see in 19.5?
Oh, man. You know, from a stats standpoint, you know, it almost has to be thrusters because they've shown up in the final week of the Open every year since the Open started. But you know what? Dave Castro loves to throw curveballs. Once you think you have a beat on what he's doing, he likes to flip the script a little bit. But still, we have history for a reason, right? So it's going to be tough to get away from the idea of there not being thrusters. So I think we might still see that.
All right, well, your guess is as good as everybody's, but no more guessing pretty soon because coming up next is 19.5.
I think the Open's going pretty good.
Wow, good answer.
Short, sharp, and to the point.
Pues en el Open, actualmente ahorita estoy en la posición número 1 de leaderboard de México. Representar a México este año y toda la vida para mí representar a mi país ha sido un gran honor.
Yes, currently I'm in second place in Mexico, and I would like to be in first, obviously, so it could be a little bit better. I consider myself a very competitive person. I think I grew into that due CrossFit. Yeah, I became very competitive.
It's very important for me to make sure that I'm in that top 20 going into the games, just to make sure that I have a solid position on day one at the CrossFit Games. But right now, you know, my priority is getting mad in 19.5.
Solid. Solid. I think the Open's a good test. You know, everyone's doing the same workouts, and so it's a good way to chalk yourself up next to other people and see where your weaknesses are early on in the season, so you have plenty of time to work on them. We're going head-to-head tonight, but you know, I think we'll both push each other and we'll better each other's scores by being there.
For me, it's just a huge honor to not only be coming here and doing this alongside Matt, but also in front of the Miami community. And so for us, this is, I think, going to be an experience that we're going to always remember and cherish for the years to come. And
Welcome back, and without further ado, let's bring the athletes out. Leading the women for Mexico's national championship, please welcome 2018 Games veteran Brenda Castro. Brenda is leading, but technically we have a tie on points between her and this next athlete. Please welcome three-time regional competitor Tia Schmidt. These next two athletes have both earned the title Fittest on Earth. Put your hands together for two-time Games champ and the 2019 Wadapalooza champ, Tia-Clair Toomey! And now, please welcome your three-time reigning and defending Reebok CrossFit Games champion, Matt Fraser! All right, and now, who better than to announce 19.5 to the athletes themselves, right? Why not? Whew. Okay. And for the official announcement of 19.5, Brenda, get it, girl.
19.5 is for time.
Thrusters at 95 pounds guys, 65 pounds girls.
in chest to bar pull-ups.
And the rep scheme is 33, 27, 21, 15, 9.
All right, it's official. How do you guys feel about that? Amazing. All right. Brenda, Leia, you guys are able to get warmed up. Matt, Tia, we'll see you guys back out here later today. Now remember, we've all got to have standards in our life, and for 19.5 standards, you can go to games.crossfit.com for the standards of 19.5. Make sure you check those out. And then also, if you want to download that app before you get started, the WOD-proof app, I've got it on my phone. Tommy, Brandon, you got it?
Got it, and I was ready for this thing until about a minute ago. And
Yeah.
I was Brandon and Tommy, joined by Matt O'Keefe, the president of Loud and Live Sports. And guys, what do you think of this one?
I look at that workout and I just see 100+ chest to bar pull-ups for, you know, us big tall guys. It's not going to be pretty.
I think my open's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might pass on this one. But wow, that is gross. This should be fun to watch. At least there's an end in sight, right?
Yeah.
So it should be interesting.
Oh, man. Oof. Yeah, it's brutal. I just can't get over the 100 plus. That's good. It's killer.
It'll be fun to watch, but this is absolutely going to be horrible for everybody, I think. So as this is like the grander scheme of things when it comes to the season itself, we've had a limited look at how this new format plays out. Kind of curious what your thoughts are with the sanctioned events, with the Open. We are having the Open move next year, of course, but just your thoughts on this season so far.
Yeah, I think it's been great so far. I've been to a number of sanctioned events. We've experienced ours in Miami, obviously. The turnouts have been incredible. I think we're still feeling it out, getting through the cycle, and once we see the games and how that works with the increased number of athletes, I think everybody will feel a lot better about it from the athlete side. From the event side, it's been incredible. We felt the effects in Miami, and it was incredible. Our community rallied around it. I've been to South Africa, I've been to Dubai, and the turnouts have been incredible, measurable off of last year before they were sanctioned. It's really exciting times. I couldn't be happier with the way it's going.
And so, speaking of events, we're having an event right now. What was kind of behind the decision to host an Open announcement, the finale, the final week, and bring it to here in Miami, Loud and Live's home?
Well, CrossFit HQ called and asked. But they, I'll say that we're huge fans of the sport first, right? I was talking a little earlier with Rory, and I said that my first experience in a CrossFit gym was 12.1. 7 minutes of burpees. Yeah, and I remember the progression of the Open announcement. Rich and Dan did that next week, and it was pre-recorded. And I've been fortunate enough to be at a lot of these with athletes that we work with. And I'm just a huge fan. These matchups are unique. Yeah, they don't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but it's different. It's different than what we see on the floor at a regional or a sanctional or at the games. It's just really fun for the fans, and the athletes love it. It's a great way to go about the workout for them. Listen to the crowd. Look at this. This is phenomenal. No better way than to finish it off like this in front of a big crowd in Miami. Our community is amazing, and how could we not do this for them?
Yeah, totally.
So there's a couple of events coming up also, and one of those a little close to your heart, coming up soon with the West Coast Classic, of course. Yeah,
I'm a California boy, born and raised. So, the fact that there wasn't a sanctioned event in California this year broke my heart a little bit, but that's changing for 2020. So for all of us West Coasters, what can we look forward to in 2020 with year one?
Yeah, I mean, and we tried this year, really. It just, scheduling didn't work out, but we're really excited about that. I mean, we've learned a lot, with our event here in Miami, and there's some really good key takeaways that we can bring to California, but it's just a different vibe, right? We're excited to dig in with the community out there, build a community component where people can participate and not necessarily through a qualifying process. Pitch a tent, grill, throw a party, maybe add some music. We're really excited. We spent some time out there last week meeting with affiliate owners, and it's very consistent. Everybody is really charged up about it, and we're going to work right now. We're excited to build it.
So you mentioned that event in Miami here, that being Wadapalooza. Any changes coming, or what are we looking at coming forward in 2020 for this one?
Yeah, so we, of course, we'll improve. We learned a lot. We have some key takeaways, and we can't wait to dig in and get better for our community. I promise there'll be more seats next year. We had a huge turnout, and it was amazing. So we've got to fix that, and we will. But dates, you know, we got a little thing coming to Miami called the Super Bowl. And so the Super Bowl, unfortunately, gets precedent over us. And so we went into the event, you know, wondering kind of how we were going to navigate that, and thought about maybe moving venues. And then, you know, my first experience with Wodapalooza Miami was this year as an operator. And I just sat there all weekend and said, how can we move? You know, this venue is perfect. So we're going to move the date this year. You know, it's a 1 in 10 year problem. The Super Bowl comes here. So we're going to go in February, the end of February 20th to 23rd for just 1 year. And we're going to continue to do it in Bayfront Park.
Makes total sense, and we'll look forward to that going forward in 2020 as our attention continues to shift back here to 2019. Matt, thank you very much for joining us, but it's about ready for 19.5, so appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for being here, and thanks to all the fans. I hope they had a good time tonight. These guys will put on a good show for them.
Thank you very much, and 19.5 is here, and it is just going to be pain. So 19.5, as the athletes gave it to us, we get a look at it, and it is simple, but oh no, I really am not looking forward to this one personally either.
Classic CrossFit couplet of thrusters and chest to bar, quintessential CrossFit movements, but in a much larger portion than we are used to, Brandon, that is for sure.
So our first heat will be the race for the Mexican National Championship. Brenda Castro leading the way by tie break as they're both at 11 points coming into this fifth and final week.
We could very well see who's going to the games from Mexico decided on this floor right here, right now.
There's Leah Schmidt, multiple-time regional athlete looking to break through to the games for the very first time.
3, 2, 1, go! Here it is.
And away we go with the round, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, of 33 thrusters, 33 chest to bar pull-ups. Tommy, we keep saying it's going to hurt, but what are you looking for to survive this one?
Oh, man, there's a few things I'm really looking forward from these athletes in particular, and for anyone who's going to attack this workout in particular. That first strategic break, right? We've already seen some athletes break it up early so far. How are they going to do that in order to save themselves for some of the later rounds? Most of those athletes can do 21, 15, 9 chest to bar pull-ups and thrusters unbroken, so making sure that they keep their pacing and their breaks at a pace so they can support going unbroken in the later rounds when it really matters. The other thing I want to see here is thruster efficiency, right? We always talk about quarter extremity with CrossFit, being efficient in our movement, utilizing the legs here on the thrusters, not pressing out too soon, really driving that bar up to save our arms a little bit because we're going to need them for pull-ups.
Judges' hands in the air indicating the final 5 repetitions for both athletes, and it's Brenda Castro who went with quicker sets, but also that short rest, and that gives her the edge just over 1 minute for both of them to complete 33 thrusters, and they're on to the 33 chest to bar pull-ups.
And what you'll see from a lot of these athletes too, that they can cycle that bar so fast that they can afford to take a couple of breaks and still go just as fast as a few other athletes that are still going unbroken.
Now, in this style of events, when it comes to thrusters being the main point in the open, both of them have completed one of these events 5 times in the past 5 years. Brenda Castro actually won that battle between either of them 4 out of the 5 times when it comes to those thruster workouts.
And we actually have a pretty good comparison about what this might look like for some of these top athletes last year. If you remember, 18.5 was basically 7 minutes of ascending reps and trying to get as much reps as possible with chest to bar pull-ups and thrusters. In 18.5 last year, Brenda Castro got 170 reps. Leah Schmidt got 156 reps. So we're going to see them in that 7 to 8 plus minute range, but they're also very close in terms of their capacity with these movements in this particular time frame.
Speaking of close, the round of 33 in the books, 2:08 for Castro, 2:09 for Schmidt, as we're into the round of 27.
I mean, thinking about it right now, between those two about 33 each, you're just a little bit less than what Fran is with chest to bar pull-ups, and they're holding about 2 minutes, a little bit more than that, so they're still moving at a pretty good clip for this early round.
I know back at my gym I tell people not to add it up, and I'm going to have to do it for you. That first round is not even a third of the way through the entire work that's going to be needed in this event.
I wish you didn't tell me that, Brandon, because just thinking about 105 reps of thrusters and chest to bars each is pretty daunting. This is the latest progression of how we're upping the ante in the Open. You know, we're talking about the Open as a direct qualifier for the CrossFit Games. So you assume that the programming is going to reflect that. It has so far. And now we're seeing another iteration of that with a workout style and movements that we're used to seeing just dialed up to 11 a little bit.
Leah Schmidt, first one with a judge's hand up, but she's going to break with 4 remaining of the set of 27 thrusters. That gives the edge once again to Brenda Castro, 34th place at the CrossFit Games 1 year ago, and she leads the way in the point standings here for Mexico's one qualifying spot, and also in 19.5 as we're 3.5 minutes in.
It's interesting, Brenda Castro choosing to go with just 5 chest-to-bar pull-ups on her first set here. You're used to seeing these athletes pop off 10 plus, so either they're a little bit more fatigued coming into this or they're really playing it safe for some of those later rounds.
And this is an interesting race between these two for that one qualifying spot. They're 19 points clear of Ana Martinez in third, and the route to get here for Leah Schmidt was second, fourth, and third in the 4 events, 7th, first, and second for Castro as they wind up here in a tie position in terms of the points. But those first place finishes giving the edge to Castro entering 19.5.
And coming into this particular workout, you assume that even though the national championship for Mexico is on the line, that regardless of what happens here, they're going to retest. Looking at it now, how many times are you going to do this workout with just the sheer volume of chest-to-bar pull-ups that we're seeing from these athletes? I said it earlier in the show, we may see it, the championship decided right now.
4:41 for Brenda Castro, and she is now into chest-to-bar Fran at the round of 21 and does so 12 seconds ahead of Leah Schmidt.
How would you like to do 60 thrusters and 60 chest-to-bar pull-ups, and your reward for it is chest-to-bar Fran waiting on the other side?
Oh, I'm just not really enjoying the work of Dave Castro right now with this one. But we are into the round of 21 thrusters, and the pace has obviously slowed. And you were talking about the workout from a year ago with 18.5 and how we can relate it, but one thing that cannot relate from that was going 3.69. This, with that set of 33, completely changing that game.
Yeah, and kind of depending on who you talk to. I personally, and I know a lot of athletes reflect this as well, they like the descending reps, because you know that once you get through that first round, each round is only going to be a little bit less work, a little bit more manageable mentally. So I think we might even see some athletes break the 7-minute mark for this particular workout, when last year, we didn't see anyone get close to the 210 total reps that we have here within those 7 minutes.
5 reps to go for Leah Schmidt, who has been faster on the thrusters after the first round. She's going to need to make up a 12-second interval, but after breaking late, it's Castro once again out in front at 6:06 to complete the set of 21 thrusters. And the 12-second interval has shrunk down just 4 seconds. It's 6:06 to 6:14 getting to the pull-up bar.
Leah Schmidt has been holding just slightly larger sets of chest-to-bar pull-ups than Brenda has, even in the round before. I'm curious if maybe she saved just a little bit in the tank on the thrusters to pop off bigger sets, which could pay off in these next 2 rounds.
It's almost cliche sometimes when we say that some of these events, some of these workouts, it's not about how quick you start, it's how strong you can finish, and this definitely seems like one of those types.
It's one of the things we didn't talk about earlier is grip management, right? We're doing a lot of chest-to-bar pull-ups. The last thing you want to do is go out too hard, too fast in one of these early rounds. Either A, blow up your forearms and your hands, or pop a callus, and then suddenly you're doing chest-to-bar Fran with a ripped hand.
And that could be happening for Leah Schmidt because it's hard to see it, but you can see that little piece of fabric on the edge of the mat. That is her hand grip, which ripped in the middle of that last set that she was doing. You notice her chalking up a lot afterwards, but she's going with one grip, one without, because of that malfunction for the piece of equipment. That could be a game changer.
Yeah, she's on the back half of this round of 21. We're getting close to the back half of Fran. At this point, you kind of hope that she's taking good enough care of her hands and she's used to it at this point where she should be able to kind of power through.
We get to the round of 15, and I'm going to say in part possibly because of that issue that she's having with the hand grip, that 8-second interval is now a 30-second interval, and Brenda Castro is opening up a big lead over Leah Schmidt.
I'm really impressed with both of these women's thrusters so far. Even after doing so many reps, good technique, nice upright torso, utilizing the legs to really drive that bar overhead to save their arms. I'll tell you one thing, I won't look like that into the round of 15.
Final 5 reps on the thrusters for Schmidt, but she is seeing that chance of possibly catching Castro go well behind her as she's into the final 5 chest to bars. Schmidt making her way back to the rig. We are coming up on the 9-minute mark. We're at 8:45 at this moment.
And typically with Fran, and this obviously is like Fran, you know, beefed up, the round of 15 is usually the make or break point, right? Because once you get through this, you can mentally kind of wrap your head around going unbroken for the set of 9. So once you get through the 15, usually it's a done deal.
8:55 through the round of 15 for Brenda Castro. And the 3-time fittest woman in her region in Mexico, also looking like she is well on her way to possibly wrapping that up once again.
And even still, I'm surprised she broke up the final set of 9 thrusters. We're talking about someone that, you know, participated at the CrossFit Games. She was on the floor with the best in the world. I guarantee you she's done chest to bar Fran unbroken probably a half dozen times. And it just shows you the wear and tear of this workout, that athletes at this caliber are breaking up the final set of 9 thrusters.
It's nearly a 40-second lead for Brenda Castro, who's putting the finishing touches on this one, and you can see the toll this event is taking out on everybody as Castro breaking up the set of 9 into the final few reps. Maybe sub 10, and it is sub 10. 9:56 unofficially for Brenda Castro. Leah Schmidt into the final round. Now, important to note, they are tied in the point standings. The tie break, which unlikely to come into play unless there's some weird fluky math that comes out in the end of this if they do redos, would go to Castro. And Schmidt onto the final 9. And Miami brings Leah Schmidt home at 10 minutes, 38 seconds unofficially. So the first 2 times in the world here in what I used to say 15.5 was the nastiest workout in the Open. This might actually beat that one by a long shot. So the new nastiest workout in Open history, 9:56 for Brenda Castro, 10:38 for Leah Schmidt.
And a wonderful performance by both of these athletes, kind of really pushing it. I know there's much bigger implications on the line here, you know, go for a ticket to the CrossFit Games, but still seeing the camaraderie amongst them. There's a tremendous amount of pride for what they're competing for in their countries. And I think it's great to see that here on the competition floor under the lights.
And with this new format, something else to keep in mind, Brenda Castro, should she hold on to that spot, Leah Schmidt has qualified for the Icelandic CrossFit Championship as well, so there's another shot to get there through that. As Brenda and Leah are starting to catch their breath, and as they do so, Kiki Dixon about to speak with them as Brenda going over to the fans here in a second. And let's get down to the floor and Kiki Dixon with our 2 athletes.
Leah, this is your first Open announcement. What's it like to come out here, hear a workout, and have to perform it just a few minutes later?
Oh wow, it's super exciting. At the same time, it's nerve-wracking. Like, the people are so awesome, but at the same time, they put so much pressure on you because they're watching you. You better don't screw up, right? Yeah.
Now, how much time did you have to formulate a plan, or did you just go for it?
No, I went back, I grabbed my grips, and yeah, I was thinking a little bit about how to split up, but to be honest, at the end, I didn't stick to the plan. So, yeah. So, I think that happens to all of us, right?
Yes, it does indeed. Now, Brenda, this is your second Open announcement. Yes. How much do you feel like that helped you prepare for tonight?
Pues mira.
Well, look.
Bueno, ya pues ya. La verdad es que cuando me invitaron sentí mucha emoción. La primera ocasión que recibí la invitación, la neta no la podía ni creer porque pues no era atleta de Games y dije yo, pero pues bueno, me quedé por una rep. El año siguiente hice mi sueño de ir a los Games y pues aquí estoy otra vez dando pelea como siempre.
Love it. Now, did you catch all that?
I'll try my best. She says the truth is when they invited me, I was really excited and I couldn't believe, me, they wanted me to come out here. And the last time in the open workout, I lost it by 1 rep, so I really wanted to come back out here.
Well, congratulations, ladies. You took it this time, Brenda.
Muchas gracias.
We'll be back.
Heat 1 in the books, but we battle for Mexico has shaped out in good fashion. Of course, still things could change, but the battle for bragging rights is next with 19-5.
Would you consider yourself a leaderboard?
Like, I know where I am on it. I know, like, who's
On the
around me.
top!
Like, there's this pull-up rig set up at the competition site. Compared to Tia, I think I'm better at chest to bars just because, like, my hands are a lot bigger, so I'm able to, like, grip. So I think the grip would be a lot easier. Like, here, show them the size of your hand.
Let's not.
Well, because she has tiny hands. I'm winning.
But who's got a bigger heart? I love you too. Fuck up.
Welcome back to Miami and 19.5, and I got to tell you, after seeing it and after hearing it, I don't feel any better about this one as we are ready for a nasty, nasty couplet to close things out.
We just saw 2 of the fittest women in Mexico throw down, and it just made me that much more nervous for this workout. They got 2 classic CrossFit movements, thrusters and chest to bar pull-ups, 33, 27, 21, 15, 9. We're used to the 21, 15, 9, that 6-rep separation. We just beefed it up, added a 27, and then we're adding 33 on top of it to essentially add about 60% to what was already a nasty workout, which is just insane.
Now this heat, it's not going to have any effect on the actual placing between them because it's just for fun here. This is for bragging rights. This is the fittest man on earth versus the fittest woman on earth. Matt Fraser and Tia-Clair Toomey here to close out 19-5.
3, 2, 1, go! Ladies
And away we go. 33 thrusters, 33 chest to bar pull-ups. Kick it off.
And this is the difference between what makes these athletes great and just the rest of us working out, right? Not only are these athletes with this thruster moving quickly through the initial portion, getting the bar up, but they're literally pulling the bar down back into their rack to increase their cycle time. And that's the difference between, being one of the elite in the sport and the rest of us just trying to go unbroken.
30 seconds of non-stop thrusters for both Toomey and Fraser, as we will wait for judges' hands to go up, which will indicate 5 reps remaining. It was about 1 minute to get through 33 for both Castro and Schmidt in heat number 1.
You think they're getting used to training together? They both took a break at about the exact same time. Both took the same rest and then hopped right back on the bar. It looks like they're both going to finish this first run of thrusters about the same time, too.
57 seconds for Toomey, 59 seconds for Fraser. Both under a minute for the set of 33 and onto the chest to bar pull-ups.
And I mentioned earlier this first strategic break for both the thrusters and the chest to bar pull-ups in this round of 33 is really what's going to set them up for success in these later rounds. 21, 15, 9 is typically a rep scheme they could go unbroken with, So really making sure that they take enough breaks, or as little breaks as possible, to still go unbroken during that portion once they get about, 50 plus thrusters and pull-ups into the workout.
Now, for those curious, 9:56, the unofficial fastest time here in our first heat by Brenda Castro. In Ireland, they've had another one of these announcements, and Travis Williams unofficially in at 8:40, which I'm going to assume at this point is the fastest time in the world thus far.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's the fastest time so far, but I think we're about to see two faster times from both of these athletes based on what they've done in the past. I mentioned that last year, 18.5 was pretty similar in terms of, what we might see in terms of time domain with 7 minutes to get as much work done. 18.5 for Tia-Clair Toomey. She got 186 reps. There's 210 in this workout, so she could be in that 7 to 8 minute range. Matt Fraser had the world's best performance in 18.5. He had 198 reps in 7 minutes of these two movements, so wouldn't be surprised if maybe he dialed it up a little bit more and got 210 in around 7 minutes.
Tia-Clair Toomey had a 3-second advantage out of the round of 33 onto the round of 27. And believe it or not, first open announcement show for Tia-Clair Toomey.
In the past, we weren't really able to get the Australian athletes out to open announcements just because of geography, right? The turnaround for them was pretty rough. It's a long way to go. Now with this new system, and obviously Tia being able to move to the United States to change her scenery a little bit, we get to see her throw down an open announcement for the first time.
Both Toomey and Fraser onto the pull-up bar for the set of 27 chest-to-bar pull-ups. 249 to this point for Toomey, 253 to this point for Fraser.
We talked a little bit about and we saw earlier during the commercial break, their kind of competitive banter. Well, I know in speaking with them earlier, I think last week, just to, maybe test out possibilities for what they might do, they did something similar to 18.5, just thinking that, something like this might come up between them. And apparently Fraser, put the hurting on Tia in that workout, so they were pretty amped to kind of have another go at it potentially here tonight.
You mean people were thinking thrusters and chest-to-bar pull-ups were coming? No.
I mean, by process of elimination,
338 and 339 the times out of the round of 27 for Toomey and Fraser as they begin Fran with chest-to-bar pull-ups instead. 21:15.9 underway. And obviously they've never competed against each other officially when it comes to these type of events, but they've done thrusters in the open 6 times each. And in those 6 occasions, Matt Fraser had the better score all 6 times, which might tell us something going forward. But to this point, it's actually been Tia-Clair Toomey leading the way since the start.
I'm going to go on record saying that Matt Fraser is probably the best person at thrusters in the world, and his track record, kind of proves that. But one thing about Tia-Clair Toomey is that when the lights are the brightest and you show up to the big stage, she performs. She's a gamer. You can see it in her face, and she mentions it every time she talks about throwing down with Matt. That once the chips are down, she just finds another gear.
And Matt Fraser for the first time out in front. 4:37 to get through the 21 thrusters onto the 21 chest-to-bar pull-ups. 2 seconds clear of the 2-time fittest woman on earth. And it's still amazing to think about how much of a carbon copy these two are. The first 4 years they've competed at the games, second, first. Matt Fraser's 5th year, another first place, but they have been almost identical in their paths.
And now they have the benefit of having one another as training partners. And now we're kind of getting into our first look in terms of live competition, what that looks like in terms of them helping each other get better for the upcoming season.
And Fraser has opened up a lead here into the round of 15. He gets through the round of 21 at 5 minutes and 20 seconds. It's 5:38 for Tia-Clair Toomey, and suddenly it's an 18-second lead for the 3-time fittest man on earth. Quick work on the 15 thrusters of that 95-pound bar. And Fraser back onto the pull-up bar. One thing we haven't mentioned, by the way, time cap on this is 20 minutes. It just has not been anywhere near a factor for anybody, but keep that in mind for your own attempts at this glorious workout to close the Open.
It's certainly not a factor for the elite in the sport, but for the rest of us, it's almost kind of Dave Castro patting us on the back and saying, that'll do. That's enough.
6:19 into the final round for Matt Fraser. 6:22 closing out the 15 thrusters for Toomey. Well, Travis Williams, time of 8:40, is not going to last a whole lot longer for the #1 spot in the world. 2 minutes to get through 9 reps for Matt Fraser to top that.
I'm going to say he's going to go ahead and beat that.
Well, you threw it out there. Sub-7 is possible for Matt Fraser. Sub-7 is going to happen for Matt Fraser. 6:53, game on to 300,000 around the world. Tia-Clair Toomey onto the round of 9.
This is what I was talking about, how it's very hard to replicate this atmosphere in training, so we tend to see some athletes perform really, really well relative to what they might do in the gym. Especially in this instant, you have the entire crowd here cheering you on, counting you through those reps. It's hard not to get a bit of an adrenaline rush.
Got your training partner yelling at you. That the same here as it would be at Mayhem for Tia as she's closing out the round of 9. .748 for Tia-Clair Toomey. 55 seconds behind Matt Fraser, but over 2 minutes quicker than the prior fastest female time that we've had, at least documented thus far, which was Brenda Castro in our first heat at 9:56. So it's Tia-Clair Toomey unofficially 7:48. Matt Fraser just throwing down the gauntlet at 6:53 unofficially.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I think that time is going to be enough to hold on to the top spot overall worldwide for Matt Fraser. You know, the last couple weeks, I talked to him about how he attacked these open workouts, and he said he did one and done. So I think that might be the case here.
And with the 2 champs, let's go down to the floor and Kiki Dixon.
All right, Matt. Congratulations on taking 19.5 tonight. You were here with your training partner, Tia-Clair Toomey. What's it like to be able to come here with the bright lights and the fans and share this experience with her?
You know, it was a lot of fun. As soon as I got asked, I said yes without hesitation. When I found out Tia was coming, I knew it would be a good time and we'd push each other.
And Tia, you've joined Matt in Cookeville Indeed. How's that impacted your training?
Oh, definitely a huge positive, that's for sure.
All right, she likes you, Matt. She'll stay there. She'll stay there. Now, you had the winning strategy. What was it, Matt? How are you looking at this event?
You know, I was just going by feel. I didn't know if I would need sets of 3 or sets of 2. I was planning on sets of 3 on the chest to bar, and then just decided to go with 2. But yeah, I just went by feel and made sure to manage the grip.
The grip did look like it was getting crispy. How did you manage that?
Oh, I think I went out a little too hot, actually. But no, I definitely stuck to the game plan. Maybe not towards the end. I was dropping off a little bit more. Sorry, Shane. But, you know, like Matt and I, we actually spoke about beforehand. Definitely saving your grip at the beginning is super important for the back end of the workout.
All right, you heard the advice. You guys, one more round of applause for Matt and Tia. And we've got a little bit of champagne. And hey, you have a shout out?
Yeah, I just want to shout out to one of my best mates. Sam, happy birthday. Hope you like your present.
All right, can we go ahead and get some champagne out for these athletes? Can I get Brenda and Leia out here as well? We got GH Mum champagne. All right, let's get them their bottles of that GM Mum champagne. Who's popping bottles tonight, Miami?
Dominguez was in a horrific car accident in 2006. They told his parents that, you know, he would never walk, he would never talk. He was going to be in a persistent vegetative state for the extent of his life. His liver was lacerated, his femur was completely snapped in half, his hips were shattered. To go from waking up from a coma, not being able to speak, remember words, relearning math, things that we take for granted, everything is 100% back and has worked through these past 13 years like a champ. And ever since starting functional fitness, he's been really hands-on, going to the gym 6 days a week. It's completely transformed his life.
I think it's really cool that I have a platform to compete just because I like the feeling of competing against others.
The progress that we've made in 9 months is just unreal. The first time he ran, he was just ear to ear with a smile because it's been years. He appreciates the journey, he appreciates the progress. All around, he's an inspirational guy.
He's a miracle.
My daughter came down last year to compete and she loved it.
It's always been a real goal of mine to come out here to Wadapalooza. Walking in and just seeing this whole huge festival with just all the people and the adaptive athletes and the games athletes.
Being on the Bayfront stage with the water in the background, the ropes hanging down, the goal of the whole year. When I'm I want to get back to Wadapalooza, I want to get back to that stage.
You know, just kind of shocking myself into what I can do under pressure like this.
You got every crowd behind you, man. That's what I love about Wadapalooza.
Just wanted to finish. It feels like I've won first place.
You can call it a bunch of different words. Some people say community, some people say it's the vibe, but it's just if you put all those words together, I don't know what the one word is for it, but you can just kind of feel something different here. It just feels good.
Welcome back. The athletes survived 19.5. Compliments of Dave Castro. We're here for the Swole and Flexi post show. We were able to get some questions from people on Instagram following at Wadapalooza that posted them, and maybe a couple from their friends too. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first one is for Leia and Brenda. It says that you guys are both used to only one spot being up for grabs with an entire field of athletes. What's it like going head-to-head against the one person you're trying to get that spot from? Go ahead, Leia.
Go ahead. Well, it's a lot of pressure, I would say. It's super exciting, but a lot of pressure because it's now or never. It's that one spot, and we want it so bad, and then it's pressure, but cool at the same time.
Brenda.
Yo siempre he dicho que el lugar ahí está. A mí me encanta participar y entrenar con más compañeras. Se me fue el avión. Perdón. Entrenar con más compañeras, pero a veces es un poco difícil por las circunstancias. El lugar ahí está y al final de cuentas lo va a merecer la persona que lo tenga que merecer, la que entrene más, la que se esfuerce más. Y pues si es Lea, me va a dar mucho gusto. Si soy yo, pues ahí voy a ir a echarle muchas más ganas y a tratar de hacer lo mejor posible.
Basically, I've always said that there's that spot's there no matter what, and I'm going to go for it. It's definitely a different feel when it's Leia and I know her, but I'm going to go after it.
Amen. Okay, the next one up is for Tia. It says, you have an opportunity to do something no female athlete in the history of the CrossFit Games has ever done, and that's win 3 consecutive, you want to read it with me? Fitness on Earth titles. How much pressure do you feel this year as opposed to maybe years past?
Personally, I don't think that there's a lot more extra pressure. I think it comes from the pressure that I put on myself, and I hold myself to high expectations. But I mean, I'm up against this fantastic field of athletes, and if I can obviously go after my goals, do my absolute best, it would mean the absolute world to me that I can do that and hopefully show everyone out there that, you know, no matter what their dream is and goals are, that if they really set their minds to it and work really hard, that they can achieve anything.
So you're saying hard work pays off?
You know it.
Okay, Matt. It says you're reluctantly winning the Open yet again. That being said, what have you noticed about the worldwide competition in the Open this year with the new qualifying format?
I don't know if it has to do with the fact that people are able to qualify straight from the Open to the Games, that they're putting more effort in or retesting it or taking it more seriously. But, you know, you're seeing a lot of names up there that aren't familiar. So there's some new blood coming in. Should be exciting at the Games, you know, with how big of a field is coming in. So I think it should be good. You know, there's a lot of the same names up there.
Yes.
And then there's the surprisers of some of the perennial Games athletes that aren't in the top 20. So they're going to have to start hitting some sanctionals. So it should make for an exciting season.
Speaking of the season, you qualified back in December. You know, how do you stay motivated knowing that you're already in and it's not until late July, August that you're competing again?
He has me.
Yeah, you know, having a good training partner definitely helps. But, you know, we don't know what the first day of the Games is going to look like. You know, so we don't know how how the sanctional competitors are going to be ranked in with the Open competitors that are national champions or the top 20. So my solution is to try to qualify all three ways so that no matter which way they stack the deck, I'm in a good position. So hopefully this score holds up and I don't have to retest that.
Fair. All right, we're going to go over to Leah and Brenda. Last year, it says that you guys got your regionals back, right? Now it's gone. What are your thoughts on the new format?
Me gusta el nuevo formato porque nos da la oportunidad de que más atletas vayan, conozcan y vivan el sueño de estar en los Games, algo que durante mucho tiempo fue literal un sueño para muchos latinos. Se me hace muy padre que CrossFit siga siendo comunidad y siga integrándonos a todos y pues todos bienvenidos y ojalá y esto sirva también para subir más el nivel de todos los atletas latinos y de todas las personas que no han tenido oportunidad de ir a los Games, que sepan que realmente sí se puede y que es un honor, perdón, que es un honor estar con los grandes.
Oh, yeah, word for word. Basically, she's saying she loves the new format of the CrossFit Games. It gives opportunity to new athletes, especially Latin American athletes that wouldn't have the chance to qualify. And overall, she really loves the new format.
I think we have still the regionals. I think the sanctional event just replaced somehow the regionals. And I think it's super cool. Now we can choose our regional. Yeah, we can go to Iceland. We can go to South Africa. We can go to Australia. I think that's super cool. That's awesome, right? And yeah, like Brenda said, so now we're gonna have so many different countries presented at the Games, and it's more opportunities. So yeah, super cool.
Speaking of opportunities, we've got a couple. We had Wadapalooza happen, West Coast Classic coming up as well. Matt, what's it been like behind the scenes watching these sanctionals grow and being a part of that?
It's been a ton of fun. You know, obviously when it dropped back in October, September, whatever that was, it was madness and everybody was trying to figure it out. We went through our event and it's just undeniable how excited people are about this. It's been a ton of fun. I've gotten a really cool opportunity to travel to, I think, including ours, 4 of them. I was in Dubai, I was in South Africa, I was in London, and I was at ours, and people are jacked about it. It's really fun. It's, you know, like Leia said, you know, it's regional. You pick your regional now, you know, and people are showing up to events that they didn't show up to before. So for these guys, it's a ton of fun. They get to see the world. They kind of get to get their brand out there a little more. It's awesome. You know, we obviously have to see the cycle, understand the Games, and I think there'll be a lot more comfort in the athletes when they understand what the whole season looks like. But we couldn't be happier with, obviously, our 2 events being a part of the season as well. So next year with West Coast Classic coming on, it should be a blast.
Yes, it will be. I mean, if Wadapalooza is any indicator, we know it's become a marquee event, and we're looking forward to you coming to my coast, the West Coast, and having some fun over there.
It would be cool if we would get one in Mexico.
Any takers? Let's get down to Mexico. I'm coming down. I'm coming down. Okay, Tia, this was your first Open experience. How was it? What was the overall vibe and feel of it for you?
Oh, it was a huge honor to be here, especially in front of this amazing crowd. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah. And of course, it's always a huge honor, and I'm very, very lucky to be able to train right next to Matt and, somewhat compete against him on a daily basis. But tonight, just with the environment, the atmosphere, and then obviously O'Keefe looking after us and the whole Loud and Live guys and the West Coast team, Miami, Wadapalooza team, so many teams everywhere. It was just a memory that I'm always going to cherish, and thank you so much actually for having me.
You're a good hype man.
Yeah. Anyone else selling stuff? I'll promote you. Thank you.
All right, this one comes in from one Patrick Vellner. You guys might know him.
Do you know Vellner?
Maybe.
Does anyone else know
Patty?
Vellner?
No. So he wants me to ask Matt and Tia, which one of you is the most dramatic when they win events?
Do you want to see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on! We need adrenaline. I should have done it at the end if I had energy.
I'll let you take that win.
Yeah. Woo!
I think that's a good finishing note. Thank you so much for joining us on the Swole and Flexi post show. Now, you guys, you're going to stick around. We've got the Buttery Bros coming in hot. We've got community heats going down here. We love it. One more big round of applause. Thank you so much to Matt, the athletes,
Thanks,
for
guys.
coming in. And that's a wrap.
Who's gonna win out of them?
Hey, which Buttery Bros winning?
Heber? Everyone in the crowd. Heber? Or Mars?
Oh! All right, and we are officially out of here before the wheels fall off the bus with these two. Good night, you guys.
We come in just